When gambling becomes an addiction, it's about more than just the money. It's about escaping the pain of disconnection. Addiction thrives in secrecy, driving a wedge not only between you and the people who matter most, but between you and yourself. The truth is, the opposite of addiction isn't just quitting, it's connection. But gambling does the exact opposite. It creates disconnection, leaving you trapped in a cycle of shame and isolation, finding temporary relief in the very thing deepening the pain. I'm Steve Rose, and I'm an addiction counselor who's spoken to thousands of people battling gambling addiction. In this video, we're unpacking how gambling becomes a way to mask deep-rooted shame while creating even more disconnection, as this very mask prevents you from genuinely connecting with people in your life. By the end of this video, you'll understand how breaking free from gambling isn't just about willpower. It's about reconnecting with yourself and others in a way that finally fills the emptiness that gambling only pretends to fix. So let's get into it. For many people, gambling is not just about the thrill or hope of winning big. It's about masking the feeling of unworthiness that lurks beneath the surface. And when this feeling grips you, gambling becomes a quick escape, a way to numb that nagging voice telling you you're not good enough, a way to feel important, special, like a winner, or simply just to escape and zone out. But as you know, the escape is only temporary. For a moment, your mind quiets down, but the reality crashes back in. And when the losses pile up, the lies start multiplying, not only to others, but to yourself. You convince yourself, I'll win big next time, or I can stop whenever I want. It's not just denial, it's part of the mask you wear to avoid facing what's really going on and to keep others from seeing it too. You might pretend to be confident, carefree, and in control, but inside, the shame is eating away at you. It's a mask of inauthenticity, and the deeper you get into gambling, the thicker it becomes. It creates a gap between what you really feel and the persona you're trying to project. This gap creates a disconnection, which deepens the shame and in turn fuels more gambling to escape. Now let's apply this to a specific example. Let's say you're lying in bed on your phone gambling after a stressful day. Maybe you had an argument with a partner, felt criticized at work, or were reminded of a painful memory. The shame you feel is suffocating, but gambling offers a momentary relief. So you start playing, hoping it'll drown out the inner critic. But the more you play, the more disconnected you become, not just from those around you, but from your own feelings, leaving them unattended to and unprocessed. So when you're not gambling, the shame is still there, but now it's accompanied by guilt for spending money you couldn't afford to lose, or lying about what you're up to or why you need to borrow money. And this isn't an isolated incident. It becomes a cycle. You gamble to escape the shame, but the gambling itself leads to more shame, which makes you gamble even more. It's a downward shame spiral, fueling addiction indefinitely. Real connection requires honesty, and when addiction demands dishonesty, genuine connections become almost impossible to maintain. The amount of energy required to maintain the mask leaves you exhausted and unable to be truly present with those around you. Over time, this constant effort to hide the truth not only drains your energy, but also your sense of self, deepening the isolation and fueling the addiction even more. This is why recovery starts with confronting the shame. No more masks, no more running. It might be painful to face the feelings you've been trying to bury, but it's also the only way to start breaking the cycle. The process of healing requires honesty with yourself and others, which can be terrifying, but also liberating. Opening up about your struggle with gambling is one of the most powerful first steps you can take in recovery, accompanied by self-exclusion, installing GamBan, and limiting your access to funds with the support of someone you trust. In addiction, shame thrives in silence. As the popular 12-step quote goes, you're only as sick as your secrets. Keeping your struggles hidden fuels the shame and disconnection, reinforcing the cycle that keeps you trapped. But by choosing to open up to someone supportive in your life, whether it's a partner, parent, or close friend, you can start to break the hold that shame has over you. Opening up can feel like a weight lifting off your shoulders. It's a pivotal moment that not only helps you step out of isolation, but also helps you build a foundation of accountability and support. Brené Brown, a leading researcher on shame and vulnerability, said, "Vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of strength. By choosing to be vulnerable, you give yourself permission to let go of the burden of secrecy." Vulnerability is so powerful because it's an act of courage and self-acceptance. It says, I'm worthy of help and connection, no matter my past, despite the inner critic's disagreement. The more you practice vulnerability, the more you reinforce self-acceptance, which takes away the power of the inner critic, dissolving shame and propelling you toward recovery. Beyond opening up to someone in your life, Support groups like Gamblers Anonymous are another way to practice vulnerability. These groups are built on the idea that you don't have to go through this alone. Listening to others who share your struggles or opening up about your own can dissolve the walls of disconnection and make you feel part of a broader community. Shame loses its power when it's spoken out loud in a safe, understanding space. In time, you may even find a sense of belonging and connection that's more deeply rewarding than anything gambling could ever offer. Want a breakdown of my best practical strategies on how to stop gambling without relying on willpower? You can check out my video here. And remember, recovery is not just about letting go of gambling. It's about becoming the person you were always meant to be.